Welcome back to Kalipso's Deep Dive. Today's guest is Perry.
I founded my own gaming company with a few friends who jumped off from Facebook and start the company with me. He thanked us for making the games because he had some really bad health situation.
Wow.
And he was just like, without your games, I cannot get through the day because I go treatment after treatment. It's just really painful. And that I felt really good, about that. They think the problem is in the marketing, but if the product isn't what people want, no amount of marketing can help you.
First off, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure, yeah. Hi, my name is Perry Tam. I started off as a software engineer coming out to Silicon Valley and then become an entrepreneur. I ran my own gaming company for 11 years. And then after that, I also do some angel investing since 2016. So I've been doing that for 10 years. Lately, I'm doing more of the angel investing. So I just backing early stage startups.
And how would you explain angel investing to someone? What is it that you do?
Yeah, so basically we go around to different, talk to different founders or potential founders, and then try to assess their ideas, see if they need any kind of help, both financially and human resources wise, or just like a good sounding board. And then we partner with them. We basically work very closely with them, help them get product market fit, and also supply them with some financial help. The goal is to get them to the next stage and beyond so that they can have a successful business.
Nice. And you mentioned you were a software engineer before. What made you want to branch into more business entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I started off as a software engineer, work at different places. The last place I worked at was Facebook.
Nice.
And then after that, I became an entrepreneur. I founded my own gaming company with a few friends who jumped off from Facebook and start the company with me. The reason why I switched more to the business side is basically there are better people than me who can do the engineering. One of my co-founders was a very, very good engineer, and I trust him more than myself when it comes to coding. So he became our CTO, and then I became the CEO. And I basically just run everything that him and our chief product officer doesn't do.
Cool.
Yeah.
So branching more into company wise, how do you ensure that a team or company is able to have a legacy or last?
I think everyone could aspire to build a legacy, but to me that's less of an important. I think every business or every team that I back, our goal is to build something that people really want, something that can help someone else, add value to someone else. If you can achieve that, then you have a business.
Okay.
But then obviously things keep on changing, new technology come about, you get competitors, the market shifts. So you just have to constantly reassess whatever you provide. Is it hitting the value proposition for your customers or for someone that you're serving? And you just have to keep on doing that. Once you keep on doing that, over time you build a more valuable business.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, so that's how I see it.
Do you have to collect feedback from users then? Because you have to take in account what they want. Okay.
Yeah, we do. We when I was making games, a lot of the feedback come from the data, the usage pattern. I often say, the data tells you what the problems are. They never tell you what the solutions are.
Right.
Because they can tell you, okay, people don't like this level. That's a good information, so you should do something about this level, but it never tells you what they might like. Right. So it comes to so that's the team's kind of responsibility to be creative, to think about the problem, and then provide potential solution, test it out, and then seek for a solution.
Okay. And how do you foster good team culture?
Yeah, I think the first and foremost, it depends on what kind of culture you want to build. We talked about being data-driven is one kind of culture. So, obviously, even at the top level, at the highest level, you have to be very data-driven. So you have to embrace the data, encourage your teammate and your people who work for you need to, bring data to the table when it comes to decision making. The other thing about culture is everyone bring their own piece to affecting the culture. So being the leader has a little bit more influence because you can kind of choose who you want to include and not include in your team to some extent. But at the end of the day, it's a team effort to evolve the culture. So at the same time, I would say we try to influence the culture, but we can never control the culture.
And what happens if there's like disagreements in like any like kind of culture or even in general? How do you like overcome that?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. I think that go back to, kind of the data-driven side of things is, if we notice a problem because the data tell us, different people, different teams might see the solution differently, right? So team A might propose we should do this, team B might propose we should do that. In a perfect world, you should do both and test them out. And then, that's where the A/B testing comes from, right? And then you would quickly kind of see what is a better solution, maybe neither, right? So we oftentimes encourage our teams to do that rather than just sit here and debate about it, because a lot of the time you can't really debate.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because with our robotics team, we actually did the same thing, because like some people thought that it was better to do the patterns, and then some people thought it was better to just keep shooting.
Right.
And so we tested both to see like which one collects more balls.
Right.
So like doing the data thing, and so like that's really cool how like it relates to a company.
And then which one is a better strategy?
Like just straight shooting.
I see. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like there's a lot of merit in both proposal, right? It's like just sitting here talking about it, you really cannot get an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
But putting it to the test, and then you find the answer much quicker.
Okay. And what is some career advice that you'd give for someone specifically wanting to get into your area of the job market? So like entrepreneurship and business. Yeah,
so I would say start early.
Start early, okay.
And especially entrepreneurship. Thinking back, what I did when I was in high school, college, and even when I was working, I oftentimes pick up projects that are outside of my work. It's just passion project. Like either I build a website for some random things that I feel compassionate about, or I, work with a couple of friends and we try to build this like class management tools for teachers to use, or doing a podcast with some other friends, like things like that. Like they don't evaluate into a real business, but it gives you a lot of training for how to get started on something. And you never know, right? Like if the podcasting work out, maybe I'm an influencer, right?
Yeah.
Right, but that didn't work out. So, but that's okay. But that get me into the mode of just keep trying different things, and then and then the gaming company came about and it worked out.
When you develop your gaming company, do you have any like doubts on how it would work out?
Well, we didn't have doubts because we didn't have much expectation. We were like, we were working at Facebook at the time, and then we thought, hey, we want to make some games to just try it out. Apple just opened up their platform, so we're like, okay, let's make games on Apple's platform with not much expectation. If it works, it works. It doesn't,
just like for
we
fun.
Still have a job, right?
So
it's okay. So we were just doing that. But we were serious about it, meaning we put a lot of time on it because we were somewhat passionate about both the gaming and also the new platform, because we believe that people are going to use the iPhone more and more because of how good it is. So even if the gaming doesn't work out, we would potentially do other things with it, right?
So you have like a backup plan?
Not necessarily, we didn't spell that out, but backup plan is to continue to work at Facebook, which is a pretty good backup plan. But even if the gaming gig doesn't work out, I'm sure we will figure something else, right? So that's kind of go back to my earlier point, is like just keep trying things is the best way to get started. Okay.
And did you take any specific or unique classes in high school or college that you think is beneficial to what you do now?
There are a few things that were helpful, but not something that you would expect.
Okay.
Meaning I took, when I was in college, I took a software engineering class. And in that class, it's not so much about learning software engineering, it's learning about, you have to find a customer, you have to deliver a product for the customer during that time. And then the customer has to write a review about you, that's your grade. So that class was very helpful because it opened up my eyes as to like, oh, this is what software engineering really means. It's not about writing the code, it's actually satisfying someone else's requirement and serving some customers. So that was helpful. And then I'm sure that lead to why I'm so interested into making software for someone else.
So what do you like most about what you do now?
So nowadays I do more of angel investing. The thing that I like the most is talking to founders.
Oh, okay.
It's really interesting people. Like they are also at the cutting edge of coming up with like all kinds of crazy ideas. Some are cutting edge, some are funny, some are just like, wow, I didn't believe you could actually do that type of thing. And then they're all brilliant people. Like they just move so fast, they get things done. So it's always great to talk to them and just learn from them.
Cool. And what's an accomplishment that you're the most proud of in terms of your work life?
I think when I was making games, I think the one moment that I was very proud was when I was answering some customer support email, and then I remember this person wrote in and he said that he thanked us for making the games because he had some really bad health situation.
Wow.
And he was just like, without your games, I cannot get through the day because I go treatment after treatment. It's just really painful. And that I felt really good, about that. I was like, wow, I never knew that whatever we do can actually impact someone like that. So that was really
cool.
Really cool. And nowadays, I think it just, being able to help some other founders to create that thing for other people is something that I feel very proud of every day.
Wow, that's really cool. And when you were making games or like even like entrepreneurship, like was there any advertising involved in your job?
Oh yeah, a lot. That's the core part of the business. Yeah.
So how do you what are some tips that you would give to someone who is struggling with advertising?
I think a lot of first-time entrepreneur or product people, they build something, they want to market it, and then they buy whatever ads, and then it didn't get the traction. They think the problem is in the marketing, but the problem could actually be in the product, right? So use marketing as a way to test your product, I would say. If the product is good, a very small amount of marketing actually can propel it really far away.
I see.
But if the product isn't what people want, no amount of marketing can help you.
Okay.
So use marketing as a way to gain signal to assess whatever you're doing, is it worth the while? More so than figuring out how to market it well. It would be my advice.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of the time, like, even me, I think, like, marketing is, like, very important. Because, I mean, I've had people tell me that, like, even if your product isn't that good, as long as you market it well, like, people can sell that. Do you think that's true?
I think that's true to some extent. Like, if you create a chair that only have one side of the arm, the armchair will have two arms, right? If you only have one arm, let's say, you can market it to someone. I'm sure someone would need it. Yeah. But whether you can make it into business is a question of how big is that market and how effective it is for your marketing to reach those people. So those are two things. Meaning, whatever I build, I'm sure someone else would need it. But that doesn't mean that you can build a business around it. So if you are into building a legacy business, then you really have to think about the product that you're building.
I see. So like, if you want it to last, then you have to make sure the product is like good enough
and keep evolving because the market shift too. Yeah. So there's no, So you need to do both. You do need to do well in marketing, but then it really starts from what you're providing first.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming to our podcast today, Perry. You can follow his work on LinkedIn. Is that a good place?
Yeah, LinkedIn would be a good place.
Okay.
Perry Tam.
All right. Cool.